Good morning, everyone. I am Daniela Acevedo. We welcome you to all the assistants of Colombia 4.0, the ones that are here in Neomundo, and also the ones that are via streaming on the webpage www.col40.com. This is the event where dream digitally and will make it real. The best speakers of the TIC sector of the creative digital sector in Bucaramanga, and for free. This event, organized by the Ministry of Technologies of the Information and Communications, promotes the transformation, the digital transformation, and the ownership of new technologies, sharing the experience of people that were able to make the ideas in the digital world a reality, change the world and change the environment in a novelty way. Live the world of innovation and technology that make us better and bigger. Let's continue with the panel MinTIC with Abre Cámara, fostering the production of animation in Colombia. As moderator, we have Maria del Rosario Ovedio. She is the Vice Ministry of Connectivity of the TIC Ministry. Our panelists will be Claudia Iguaran from the Treble Study, Daniel Veres for the study Bombilla Amarilla, and Sergio Mejia from the Three Dices study. Welcome you all. And please, for the audience, out of respect to our panelists, please put your phones on silence mode. Vice Minister, you have the word. Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here in this wonderful panel, of course, in the event, and naturally in the beautiful city that have hosted us. Such a very great disposition, and of course, to share tons of experiences about entrepreneurship, development, animation, which is the panel that have us here today. Before introducing the panel and to go move on to our questions, we want to give you a bit of background about the calling that we do in MinTIC. We want to tell you that our institution has a purpose to support the industry, the Colombian talent, the technological development, and that's why we create these callings for the audiovisual sector. So the pre, post, and of course the production feel supported by the ministry, and they can actually achieve these contents on the highest level that we can actually achieve at the moment. Of course, for the animation, the sector of animation cannot be an exception. That's why we created a project and the calling Abre Cámara for animation. We have invested in the 2020, 2021, and 2022, more than 7,500 million of Colombian pesos, supporting 25 projects of animation content. This is a very important figure to continue to support our producers, the developers, and of course the imagination. With this context, it is an honor for me to share this panel with Sergio, Daniel, and Claudia, the winners of our callings in 2020 and 2021 with their great productions. We're going to talk about them in a minute. Let's start with Sergio. Sergio, before the development of our panel about Amarillo y Violeta, which is a hit, I'm pretty sure that the audience they will just go nuts with this Amarillo and Violeta animation. I want to know which one is your inspiration. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation to Colombia 4.0. These 2 days have been amazing. Yesterday, we had the opportunity to share a little bit with, about our experiences. To answer specifically your question, actually, I think that the Colombian reality is inspiring enough to create tons of content. We are a study that is it that has 15 years old producing animation contents, and I think the source of our inspiration is everything that happens to us and all the things that we have gone through and sharing with the people that share with us the experience of creating animation, our colleagues, everyone. I feel that the reality nurture us, but at the same time, I think the experiences of everyone that does animation nurture us to move on, to move forward, and producing products that can go beyond our borders. Thank you very much. Yes, the Colombian reality inspire us for sure. I totally agree. Daniel, Tata y Coco, such a wonderful and also how can you actually come up with that and which one is your inspiration to give them life? We really wanted to create a content that, besides looking very good and very attractive, will actually providing to our people, our children. We wanted to make a content that were completely attractive, so the children could say, "Wow, what is that thing I'm looking at? That imagination, the games, what they are. I want to replicate them in my reality." And that's the way we created these two friends. They are neighbors, and with their imagination, they just go to deserts, to the paramount, the ocean. They know all the incredible animals that we have in our regions and the whole world, and they go through so many adventures that we wouldn't be able to tell them without animation. Wonderful. And actually, Tata Coco has two elements that are very important from our childhood, which is the living with the neighborhoods, your neighbor friends, and our imaginary friends. And that imagination becomes reality through animation. And I think we have to highlight as well as an inspiration to take from the reality whatever happens in the imagination. Claudia, you have tons of experience in that, right, with Terra Necla? Yeah. And here we have just not a magical word, but also empowered woman. So tell us a little bit about your inspiration. Good morning. I'm Claudia. I'm coming from Santa Marta. I'm very thankful for being here. And then Naclayal's land, as you said, is based on experiences that we have since the beginning with the sea, the relationship that we have with the sea, especially the ones that were born in the Caribbean Sea. So the Tierra Naclaya was inspired on that. These are children, they are guardians, one of the sea, one of the land, and they have special powers on their hairs. And with Manuelito, they have different adventures. Well, the flora and the fauna are the main character of this series. For 5 episodes, we can see situations where the earth is exposed to dangers, and these girls, magical girls, they just come out to rescue the life from Onyx for the clothes of Onyx. So this is a story that comes from the imagination, thinking about the magic. And also, one of the characters that we have, of these children have, these girls have, physical speaking, hair, their curly hair that can be used as a spring, the straight hair can be used as a cord, so they can help the Naklaja's earth. So this is a magical story that is quite beautiful. That's right. I I cannot move on without asking you first, how can we be a successful woman in animation? How to bet? Why to bet for animation since you are a woman? Look, the animation has something special is that it doesn't have limits. You can do all of that that maybe you cannot do in a video. So in a documentary or in a fiction, sci-fi, the imagination doesn't have limits. We think that we want to have magical children, girls, and we did it. And it is like that. So we can say that the characters, as you can see, they have a specific physical characteristics. One of the girls is Hema. She has sun stains on her skin. Say Well, we have children that are growing up and maybe they cannot find a representation of themselves in the national TV with some specific physical characteristics. So with this element, yes, it is important for the representation. For example, likewise, Manolito, which, this is a very common guy they have very specific, very peculiar friends, and that it's important. And I think that animation is that allow us to go beyond. It has no limits, and that's very special. Thank you very much, Sergio. Amarillo y Violeta, our aliens that has an ownership in the ministry. We know Amarillo and Violeta. We love Amarillo and Violeta. We want our children to get involved with Amarillo and Violeta. Why you wanted to, be part of this calling to MinTIC? Your question is very important because I think we all agreed, and all the animators, producers, we agreed that the bets that MinTIC does, the ministry does, have strengthening the industry. That's why the industry has grown. It's not just to open cameras, Abre Cámaras, that calling, but any other callings. We have strengthened our development of our series, but also other series, thanks to the support that we receive from MinTIC. And for us, of course, it was the first time that they opened this calling, and it was the first opportunity to be part of that. But we were able to develop that idea since a year ago, for a year, and we thought it was a perfect opportunity for us to actually enroll ourselves in this calling. We have so many other projects there waiting because our strength is the development of stories. But we thought that Amarillo y Violeta, due to the conditions of this calling, and also because it will be something that will be more commercial versus things that we were doing before, that we can actually be able to export this product. We thought this is the best moment for us, and that's what we applied for this calling. It was amazing because the reception for our public was amazing. We this as a milestone because this series was launched in 10 different TV channels. We got into the India Catanila Awards, and at that moment of the launching, it was amazing. So the response, of course, was yes, match what we were thinking, and I feel that the reception of children and the audience, even of the judges that have assessed the project through all of this time, I think it was the time very timely. I think it was very important, and I think it was very valuable the bet that the ministry has done for all the support in animation in Colombia. Thank you, Sergio. Daniel, what do we have to trust and believe in the Mintic callings, and why would you have Tata Ekoka to Mintic, and why you didn't do it independently? Well, the reason why we started to approach to it, and it's good to talk about Mintic, not just the calling itself, is because the first steps of Tata Coco were actually given. It was in a digital. It wasn't in Abre Cámara as the other program. As Sergio said, yes, we were able to get a lot of acknowledgement words, but it was thanks to the first moment in CREA, this program, because they told us that's useless. It is useless. And it's useless because it's not mature enough. It didn't have an artistic proposal that was so interesting, better work on the scripts, more research, a testing, a pilots on the public. So the CREA judges told us all of that. So we said, let's forget about this. Doesn't care. We know what is worse. The work is to improve it. We keep working on that. We kept working on that, and we show a very new proposal with a new scenario, which is the nativity scene, which is the scenario where all the kids are moving around. We use a technique we never use, which is 3D, and then the imagination was feed with the 2D. So thanks to that, we were taken to the Abre Cámaras, we enrolled on that, provide a product with high quality that got into India Catalina awards, and now is getting into different type of screens. Tell us a little bit about the process that you had had after you won the calling, and how were you able to start making business directly, not on the national level, but also internationally with the production. Well, about that, we were so lucky that it wasn't just Tlatecoca with Abre Cámaras, but also Soñadores with Fontic and the Prog, and also Short with CREA, with all those programs. So we were able to align so many success, as we might speak, that we were able to produce such a high quality products. Then we have the pandemic. We went to all the festivals and markets around the world, like Saint Maria, Annecy in France, Kids in Miami. Once we were sharing the portfolio with these productions, with all these reels, they said, there's something good here. I want to start to have these on my productions, and we started to, get business going on in different type of the world. Right now, we're working for states, Polony. Who will even think of it? My market was Polony, but one of the most important clients is located there. So that's thanks to all the callings that we got after all of these productions. Claudia, why it was important to get into MinTIC? Why to believe that MinTIC was a way to develop the imagination through the animation? Well, it's very important to say that when we started this study, the first award was Crea Digital. So then we started to believe that it was possible because we would do the budget of animation with scare. Where I'm going to get this money from? We thought. So, but we started to research about the different type of callings, and the first approach was with Crea Digital, and the first award was in 2017 with this organization. And then we thought it is possible. We can keep doing it. We can create an animation and believing on it, because yes, we get scared. The figures are a bit intimidating, but it is possible if we have MinTIC still believing that we can create animation. Otherwise, we won't find, with spaces like this one, for example, it's much more complex. For example, right now, after that, we still bet on it. Then we do the Caótica main for Telecaribe, which is with resources of Mintic, and then the Abre Cámara with the Tierra Naclaya. And then we thought, this is the path. Right now, we're on the stage of do the launching the premier nationally so we can reach international markets. But first here, and the Mintic callings, of course, have been a very important support. We were able to do synergy and to make it real. And we were able to make you believe in your talent, which is very important. So you know that besides being a reality, is a support to the Colombian talent and to the dreams. Like we shouldn't be scared to dedicate to invest in our conventional dreams that sometimes we have, but the animation is a very value option, especially when we have passion on it. And this conversation, I remember that Sergio was saying yesterday, he was telling us, got a lot of no's until somebody told me yes. And I think the no's that we get help us to build, to strengthening, especially what Daniel said, our projects, our dreams, our character as well, the character, our own character, and the project's character until we get the first yes. Sergio, how how was when Amarillo and Violeta got the first yes, and what's the path? Which ones were the requirements from the production before you got the yes? How much time it took for you to develop the content, and what happened when you got the first yes? What you just said is very important because I feel, and I say it many times, that from the success sometimes we just get the applause, but when we fail, when we go into mistakes, we learn a lot. With Amarillo and Violeta, we were, for a year for development, and we have tried to, establish it in different type of callings national, internationally. Of course, we had tons of feedbacks. We rejected a lot, but then we thought, yes, maybe the idea is mature enough at this moment because it was an award of production. It wasn't a word of development. It has to be clear that the investment that you're gonna do from the MinTIC and our own investment to bet into this production, it should be very clear for us. We should be very sure about our production. So basically, it was like a relief to think, yes, when you're going through all of these assessments. I think it was very interesting. The calling from Abre Cámaras, for example, is anonymous. So you don't know which other studies are being part of it. What they are awarding are actually the ideas and the projects. For us, it was amazing to get the first yes because it was validating with the judges that this was a worth produced project. Once we got the yes, we went straight to production, and I feel, since you were talking about the synergies, I think that these callings allow us to produce series in a logical way, meaning that we have 5 chapters, 5 episodes, short projects. It's going to allow you to use the time and the budget so you can have a feasible project that can compete internationally. So that was the most important bet. So we can create a product that we should be, of course, happy with the results, with the outcome, but actually a project that can help us to open the doors for our study. So we went straight to work in Amarillo and Violeta's production, and so very strategically we were working so we can have all the production with all the requirements that we needed for this calling. So I think it was wonderful. Daniel, which one is the biggest challenge for Tata and Coco? The biggest challenge we had was to evolve. Of course, to hear no is not easy. We hope for yes all the times. We think that we have the absolutely true all the time. We got sad. Of course, as I say, the first moment when Crea Digital, we went so far, as far as the pitch. So we were so close to gather resources. But once we were told no, we have to mourn. We have to think, what's next? What is the next step? Fortunately, everyone that we are entrepreneurs, we are very resilient. We are stubborn in our thinking. Quite often, people say no. But you has 13 years, so and since 13 years ago, I told my father I'm going to be an animator to try to imagine my father's face. So that was the hardest part. But the most beautiful thing was also that we improved. The challenges have evolved, and the team that we were able to put together. Now, the challenge is to keep working on that, to become experts so we can become the industry that we want to be. Claudia, Tierra de Naclayam, with all the productions that you have, but especially the last one, which one was the biggest challenge that have you working nonstop? More than a challenge, I think that we have a very special situation with this series, and it's that we enjoy it a lot. So, more than a challenge versus the previous project that we did last year, that was very complicated. We thought very well since the creation, since the proposal for the calling, we were thinking that we wanted to enjoy the process. We wanted to enjoy the writing process, the animation, the design. We wanted to take the time for it. So we took 5 months, but those 5 months we enjoyed a lot. The music, the meetings we had. It was an enjoyable process. Yes, it is challenging, always it is challenging, but we didn't suffer. Uh, We wasn't like, oh, this is a torture again. No, this versus the previous one, we enjoy this one a lot. And you can see it. You can see it. It's our, you know, favorite children from Treble because Treble was written, by my friend and my partner and myself, and that make it very special as well. So It is like our favorite children. We enjoy the process. Yes, we always will have challenges, but we didn't suffer the process. I don't want, to think that challenge is suffering. No, it wasn't the case. But the previous one, yes, was like that. Yes, the precision that you are making, it, it's not something suffering, but all these processes of development of content, especially in our nation, requires resiliency to wake up, to stand up, sorry, start again, to have tons of patience. So in that sense, we have stages in the development of the process that implies and requires bigger efforts from each one of us. About that, Sergio, tell us a little bit about your team. Who are behind the Amarillo Amulet? We say that yesterday we are like an accordion type of study. Regardless the project gets bigger or shorter or smaller. With all the contingencies that means to be an entrepreneur in Colombia, we have to be very creative as well, even in that field. For Amarillo and Violeta, we have a study, a teamwork that was very important because once we have the idea was the most important. I am the creator of the series. With a friend of mine, we have worked with him since long ago. We built the script, all the stories. That was very interesting because each one of us were in the roles of Amarillo and Violeta. I felt that I was Violeta and my co-writer was Amarillo. So that's why it was easy to do that. That after we have everything clear, at the same time with the design of the characters with a very good friend that is very good. He lives in Mexico, and with him we work for more than 2 months previous. So before the calling, we after the calling we still kept working on that because we thought that it was very fruitful to keep doing it, and at the same time we have other people working in the backgrounds. So the art direction, we had these two people and they were working at the same time as we were building the scripts. Other aspects is my wife is the producer, and it's very interesting because she is down to earth. I can dream, I can fly a little bit, but she lands so many ideas, and that I think that's very important for the study. It's important to know that we have a common perspective, but also two different perspectives of how to work. And I think that's very important to have to do that when we build audiovisual projects, but also when we build industry entrepreneurship. That's the team. After that, when we did the animation, we were working first in a series that is right now in Señal Colombia that is called actually it's Expantivos, thanks to also the program. And thanks to that, they were working more than 8 animators in Amarillo Violeta. So that's our basic team. Daniel, who is behind Tata and Coco in the whole realization of the content? I want to do a warning. I apologize if I forget someone because I have so many people involved in my animation that it's hard to keep them all on top of my head. But I have the idea, my partner Mathieu's idea, he's Andres Mesa. He's the one that make it so, charming as you can see it. And behind us, which we are the leaders of our study, we have at least 60 people involved in different moments. So that's what I say. I apologize if I don't say the names. Uh, yes, I want to highlight one. He's Alvaro Lopez. He is an artisan of Nativity K scenes, and he was responsible of the sceneries. To have the experience leading an artisan to do this type of Mac makes to do it, that was unbelievable. Then we have storyboards, people from animation institutions like Sena, Pascal Bravo, SISTE, professionals of the Bolivariana University, the EAFIT. This is such a huge team that we see the crazy. I can't believe that I was able to put them together to achieve this piece. A fourth question here, of course. What did your team tell you when you said we got the support from MinTIC? Most of them got scared. Why? Why? Well, because once I got involved in animation, it was clear for me that I needed to sustain, to maintain it, because it's responsibility not with myself, but with my team. We actually, at a study where we have people hired with a long-term contracting. We try to have a good contract conditions, but we have an obligation with them that we have a steady work. So when we got the call in, they were having a lot of work. So they were scared, who's going to do that? But it was a beautiful moment because with a different type of call-ins is that we were forced to grow. And we have a very important challenge in here is that the leaders of the study, we had to go out to sales so we don't have to fire that team because we are trying to maintain it. Our dream and our strategy after Bombillo is to have a study that competes internationally that has more than 300 people. The international studies they have around 300 people. We are 70 at the moment between administration and animators. We are 70. We're still not so close to that goal, but that's the challenge that we are facing right now, and that's the scare. That's why they got scared. Claudia, tell us who are behind the Naklaya land, and how did you start to create this wonderful work?
Now, now, all of you that are here with us in a virtual way or here in a, yes, um, in this place. So there's a saying that is Rome was not built in one day. So is the perseverance, discipline to pursue and materialize your dreams. And I want to give you the microphone set here so that you can tell the public and tell them why should one pursue their dreams and why insist on design, on dream, on having animation in Colombia. It's a very complex thing and it's challenging because what has taught me the most is animation is patience, and patience is fundamental when somebody's trying to build up contents. So this is I don't know if it's like an advice, but it's like a very important tip because in animation, not only in animation but in generally not visuals, there are a lot more doors that are closed than those that are open. So you have to be always there, not falling with that. I mean, always persisting. Maybe when they say no to you in a summon, or when you're knocking at the door and then you're trying to get that your content would be visible, maybe that you're selling, you could improve it when they say no. so, or it's not yet the moment for it to come out. So these are like signals that make you feel to construct better your story. So the most important thing is not to stop working. This is something that animation has taught me. When you build it up from the story, or try to build, for example, layer, you can really improve a lot. I mean, there are many ways to improve a layer of animation. You can never really finish it. So when you go one step ahead to build up a product, it is the same when you build up like a development in a story. Maybe you have to jump to the abyss with all of the hope that you're doing the best as possible. Daniel, um, a message for the young people and those passionate for animation to invite them to continue pursuing their dreams and trying to make their dreams true. Will tell them that to take advantage of things. And what is that? There are two ministries that I owe a lot to as a company. It's culture and ITC. It's good that they don't really charge me anything because I would have to give them 50% of my gains. So they allowed me with their resources that they had given me, those two ministries, to form the basis that really support the light bulb I have, let's say, with summons like Credit Digital, like funds like MinTIC, with Abre Cámaras. All of these funds have allowed me to grow, and with my team, building up my stories, but also helping the others to build up their stories. So my message is to really take advantage of the opportunities that we already have. It's to take advantage in the best way possible. Is that we're not only talking about the culture or the ITC ministries, but the Chamber of Commerce, like what the Chamber of Commerce did for HEMA, where they allowed us to have a voice because they really gave us support, and we could sit down in their headquarters and we started to formalize our projects. 13 years ago, this was not even thinkable. The Chamber of Commerce of Medellin, universities, different the Sena. Those are really the engines that they have given us the great talented young people that we work with today. They said, well, what do you need? We can train them in the way you need them. So they have trained really very well young people. So my advice is take advantage of this. What is the message that you can give to young people today? Yesterday, precisely, we were talking about what message can we leave the young people that are really interested in animation. And I repeat, and I say, just believe in yourselves and believe in what you're doing, because we have to start with yourselves. If you believe and you're convinced about what you're doing, at the same time, we're going to reflect this and you're going to project this, because you if you don't even know what you're saying or what you're doing, or you're afraid even of this, of what if they say they're going to say no, and this is the most certain thing, they're going to say no, but you have to remain peacefully and in tranquil, because I have to just think about why did they say no and what do I have to improve. You have to insist in this on this path. You have to insist a lot and to pursue that dream. And I think that the people that are dedicated to animation and arts, that seems like this is a dreamland, but you can really live on this. So I believe that to believe in yourself and in the same this manner, this project yourself. This is very important, and to take advantage of these spaces that you can have. For example, this is a space we're in right now. If you're in a university, take advantage of that too. For example, all these meetings there are, or all these encounters there are, and sell yourself. Look, this is what I'm doing. What do you think? Without being afraid. And sometimes when uh, fear is the worst thing. So the worst thing that could happen is that they say no. So if they say no, you can try again, and that's it. Thank you very much. Because of the quality of this panel, we're going to allow the public to ask a question to any of the panelists here. We have some questions. We have space, I think one or two questions. There's no more time. But if you can, please, from the master, they can help us to somebody that do have Somebody that has a question. Well, somebody raised their hand. Thank you. Daniel, a question for you. How was the process to mix different types of animation, like 3D, 2D, and the mock-up that you show in your short movie? How was the process to mix different kinds of animation at the same time in something that is so short and support it for and to do it for children? This is very interesting question. First of all, is what we had to do is to look for experts in each area because we were not the experts on that. We were not the best doing 3D. We didn't even do any 3D. We had to build up a team, totally new, to help us do that. We had the experience in the 2D, very good. We were good at it, but we talked. Where can we work with people that did mangas, and we had to look for them. And the storyboard writer, he had to integrate everything in a mix that had a sense. So after having a team of experts that could give us the quality we wanted, the director was responsible to take those different ingredients and mix them so that we could have the recipe that you can see now on the screen. The children, how do they learn from the reality? What is more real than a real video? So through their telescope, they can see the real video. But the children, they move in different space, at different dimensions, at the way they look at the world, and they are in 3 dimensions. But the imagination has no limit. And drawing, you have no limits. That's why 2D is their imagination. That is the concept that we use to build up the content. And that's the way we combined it. Thank you very much. There's one more question, please, from the public, from the audience. Hello. You, when you see a new animator, what do you expect so that you can hire him? What is the most important thing that you would see from young animators? What is it that you require? I'm going to answer that question because Trébol has been characterized to because of giving this new first opportunity, and we have found really amazing diamonds that are fantastic, and then they say, well, what else is it there to work on? First of all, we see the desire, the will. We make, of course, a test to see what kind of a level is this in animation they are at. And depending on the needs of the studio, we call them or not, or wait a little bit to see what we have for this profile. But for example, in travel, is very the most important thing is that they have the will, the desire, and that they are available. Many times they're very talented, but you have to really have to beg and try and call them many times. But they're very talented. But we know that there are many talented people, so and there are many people that want that first opportunity. So you have to take advantage of those desires that these young people have and the availability there is at the studio. I would, I totally agree. What the most important thing is that that the person has really the wish to do an animator. We have been a studio that has trained a lot of people with talent, but the most important thing, even if you don't have all the talent you think you have, but if you have a lot of interest on learning, that is what we really look for. Okay, thank you very much for participating. Thank you for believing in this ITC ministry. We continue working very hard. We have a team that is all destined for these summons to promote these audiovisual industries and animation to the audience. Thank you for your participation, and that you should believe in your talent and continue believing in the ITC ministry and its support. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone.